You are welcome to this training session. I am Engineer Justin Kevin Zambwa. For this period, I'll be taking you on the topic titled Tools, Equipment and Materials in Mechanical Works. To start with, the objective for this talk or the discussion that I'm going to have with you are as follows. That at the end of this session, the trainee should be able to identify some basic mechanical tools, likewise explain the use of mechanical tools, and then state some key mechanical materials used in workshop practices. Introduction. Hand tool injuries are numerous and result from defective or unsuited for the purpose. Therefore, technicians' attitudes controls to a large extent the working habits related to tools in his workplace. And it is a good practice to use the right tool for the right job or the right work always. On marking out tools, we have numerous of them, but for the purpose of time and for the purpose of this discussion, I'll be discussing few of them, such as scriber, tri-square, compass, protractor, die stock, and so on and so forth. Now, let's talk on scriber. Scriber is a basic tool in workshop practice, especially during fabrication work. We use scriber to mark out lines on workpiece, such as on mild steel plate during fabrication work. Similarly, tri-square is used and is also a key tool for 90-degree setting and checkings on workpiece. On the other hand, compass is used to transfer measurements from measuring tool, such as measuring tape, steel rule, where, for example, you can open the compass to 10 mm and transfer the 10 mm measurement to the workpiece that you intend to cut. Also, protractor is also key for measuring angles on workpiece, such as 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, and so on and so forth. It's up to the work, or it's up to you based on the work you are to fabricate or to cut. Similarly too, die stock is also a key tool for cutting of uniform threads on pipes, bolts, screw surfaces, especially screw threads, studs, and others. We'll go ahead to talk about measuring tools. For example, measuring tape, where they may be in millimeters, in inch. It depends on the measurement you are to work on. Although there are metric and imperial units on these tools, you can also use vernier caliper. You can also micrometer screw gauge. It's up to you based on the work you intend to do. There are so numerous of them to mention here, but the few that I've highlighted, such as measuring tape, steel rule, micrometer screw gauge, vernier caliper, and others. It all depends on the nature of work you intend to do in your workplace. We now go ahead to talk about cutting tools. We have box cutters, scissors, hacksaw. But it also depends on which work you intend to do. If it is to cut, for example, a paper gasket, you use the box cutters. Else, if it is a mild steel, you can still use a manual hacksaw. Similarly to a power hacksaw can also be used. It depends on the thickness of the material you intend to cut. Fixing the blade for the hacksaw is also key during cutting. That is, the blade should be or must be pointing forwards, and cutting stroke is always in the forward direction in order not to distort the teeth of the blade. Else, cutting the other way around would render the cutting process useless. And in handling, the hand grip tool is also key. It has to do with a basic cutting techniques in handling hacksaw handle. Similarly, I'll talk about use of files. It's also a key tool in mechanical workshop or in fabricating work, such as the raw file, bastard file, second cut file, smooth file. I intend talking now about these files. One, for raw file, is used for softer material like aluminum. Also, bastard file is for general shaping work. Similarly, second cut file is for harder material like mild steel and others. Lastly, on the four files mentioned is the smooth file, which is used for finishing of a high degree of accuracy, which a small cut is being done when you are using the smooth file. Therefore, we now look at hammers, which is also key in engineering practices, such as the ball pen hammer, straight pen hammer, cross pen hammer. For further points on ball pen hammer is used for riveting. Likewise, straight pen hammer is used for riveting, but in awkward places and for awkward bending of sheet metal. On the other hand, cross pen hammer is used for drawing down and riveting of awkward places. Furthermore, I intend to now hammer on mechanical material, which is also key in mechanical works, such as mild steel plate. It can be 5 mm thickness, 10 mm thickness. Also, flat bar are of various thickness, such as 3 mm thickness. Furthermore, angle bar is also used as a material in mechanical works, which can be 3 mm thickness or 5 mm. It depends on which work you tend to use with the angle bar. Likewise, to strip mild steel pipe, you can use it for cutting external screw thread, the pop rivet, paper gasket, and so on and so forth. My trainees, my beloved trainees, will have a lot of these tools that are so numerous to mention, but a few, as I earlier pointed out to you. And from the beginning, I hammered that the right tool must be used for the right job to save cost, to save time, and then because of the economy. These tools are key in mechanical works, which I've mentioned, starting from the marking out tools, the measuring tools, the clamping tools, which is to hammer on now. You can use the G-clamp and then bench vise. Likewise, the measuring tool, such as the measuring tape, which is also key to measure the material you intend to work on, and then you cut for your fabrication. For the past few minutes, I've talked about use of tools, equipment, materials in mechanical works, which I've mentioned few. They are so numerous, such as from the marking out tools where you use your scribers. Punches are there too, because it's also key to get your pilot hole. There are also measuring tools, such as the measuring tape, which you can use either linear measurement in metric or in imperial. It depends on the work you tend to do in your workplace. Similarly too, there are clamping tools, the bench vise, the G-clamp, and so on, to clamp your work piece in the workplace. All these are key tools in a mechanical work. Similarly too, there are materials which are also key that you can't do without them in fabrication work or in mechanical workshop, such as the mild steel plate, which have varying thickness, and then the flat bar, the pop rivet, the gasket, which are mostly paper, where you use your cutters to cut the desired shape you intend to work on. All these are key tools, equipment, and materials. But for more information, for detailed explanation on these tools, equipment, and materials, you may kindly refer to our materials provided online. Thank you for listening, and I am still Engineer Justin Kevin Zambo.